Imagine this, Donald Trump, the man who's never at a loss for words, standing speechless, his confidence shattered, his famous grin gone. One question, one moment, and everything changes. For the first time in his life, he reveals a secret so haunting, so strange, he swore he'd never speak of it again. What could unravel a man like Trump? What did he hide for decades? You're diving into a story so wild, so chilling, you won't look away. This isn't just about him, it's about something bigger. Stick around, you won't believe what's coming. It's a crisp evening in New York, sometime after his presidency, exact date obscured, details hushed. Picture this, a closed gathering, invitation only, the kind of room where power hums in the air. Men in tuxedos sip aged scotch. Women in elegant gowns murmur about deals and headlines. Donald Trump steps up, sharp suit, brash as ever, ready to dazzle. He's in his element, cracking jokes, tossing out one-liners about winning, about being the best. The crowd eats it up, he's the showman they came to see. But then, the atmosphere shifts. A rustle in the back. Heads turn. A figure moves through the crowd, not loud, not flashy, just there. An old man, maybe 70s, maybe older, in a faded gray suit that's seen better decades. His beard's patchy, white as snow, his hands weathered but steady. He doesn't clap, doesn't smile, just stares. Trump notices him mid-sentence, falters for a split second, then recovers. The crowd doesn't catch it. Not yet. The speeches wind down, questions start. Typical stuff, business, politics, the usual. Then, this man stands. The room hushes, he's not one of them, not a familiar face. His voice cuts through, raspy but firm. Mr. Trump, what would you do if you knew you only had one day left? It's not about policy, not about wealth or power. It's personal, piercing. The crowd shifts, awkward laughs ripple. Trump's ready with a quip, right? He's the king of comebacks. But he doesn't fire back. For the first time maybe ever, Donald Trump freezes. His mouth opens, closes. The room goes dead silent. You can hear glasses clink, breaths held. His eyes lock onto the old man, searching, narrowing. There's recognition there, faint, buried, but real. Who is this guy? The silence drags 10 seconds, 20. People whisper, what's wrong with him? Is he okay? Trump's hands tighten on the podium, knuckles white. Then he lowers his head, takes a deep, shaky breath, and says something no one expects. I'm going to tell you a story, he says, voice low, almost a growl. But after this, I'm not sure you'll look at me the same way. The crowd leans in, some skeptical, some stunned. This isn't the Trump they know. And that's when the mask slips just for a moment and the real story begins. Let's rewind way back to 1974. Donald Trump's not the mogul yet, not the TV star or president. He's a 28-year-old hustler in his father Fred Trump's shadow, learning the ropes of real estate. Picture it, Brooklyn, a muggy summer day, the skeleton of a skyscraper rising against the skyline. He's ambitious, hungry, dreaming of Manhattan, of a name bigger than his dad's. He's all bravado, barking orders, checking blueprints, proving he's more than a rich kid with a silver spoon. Then he spots someone. Among the chaos, hammers pounding, cranes groaning, there's this guy, Jack Carter. Ordinary, forgettable. Mid-40s, maybe, wiry build, faded overalls. He's hauling steel beams, sweat streaking his face, but he's quiet to quiet. No chatter, no complaints, just work. Trump notices him not because he stands out, but because he doesn't. Day after day, Jack's there, steady as a metronome. But there's one thing, one weird thing that hooks Trump's curiosity. Every evening, when the whistle blows, Jack doesn't head to the bar with the crew. He climbs to the edge of the site high up, 20 stories, and sits. Just sits, staring into the distance, the city sprawling below. Trump watches from below once, twice, a dozen times. It gnaws at him, this guy's not normal. Finally, one humid night, Trump's had enough. He climbs up, tie loose, sweat on his brow, and sits beside him. What do you see out there, Jack? He asks, half laughing, expecting some grunt answer. Jack doesn't flinch. I see the future, he says, voice gravelly, deliberate. But not mine. Trump blinks, caught off guard. He chuckles. What do you mean? Thinking it's a joke. Jack doesn't smile. He leans closer, eyes piercing, and says, "One day, you'll remember me. And then you'll understand. But by then, it'll be too late." The words hit like a punch, cryptic, heavy. Trump's laugh dies. Jack stands, brushes off his hands, and walks away into the dusk. Trump stares after him, unsettled, a chill creeping up his spine. That night, Trump shakes it off. "Crazy guy," he mutters, tossing it aside. But Jack's words stick, a splitter in his mind he can't pull out. Weeks pass. Jack Carter doesn't show up. Trump asks around, "Where's that quiet guy?" A foreman shrugs, "Fired. Missed a shift, never came back." Someone else says he left town, vanished, no trace, no goodbye. Trump shrugs too. Life's busy, deals are piling up. He's got bigger things, hotels, casinos, a name to build. Jack fades to a quirky memory, a story for a barstool laugh. Years roll by, decades. The 70s become the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s. Trump climbs mogul, celebrity, president. Jack Carter, buried in the past. Then, November 2016. Trump's just won the election, 45th president, king of the hill. He's riding high, the world's his. One morning, amid the chaos, phones ringing, aides buzzing, a courier drops off a package. No fanfare, just a worn-out envelope, edges frayed, stamp smudged. Trump opens it, expecting congratulations. Instead, a single sheet slips out, yellowed, brittle. One line, handwritten, "Did you remember me? Now you understand." But it's already too late. He freezes. Jack Carter. That name, that voice, 1974 floods back. The construction site, the edge, those words. His pulse quickens. He flips the envelope, and his breath catches. The postmark, June 12, 1974. 42 years ago. His mind reels. Impossible, he mutters. A prank, a hoax. He calls an aide. "Check this." But the handwriting's old, the ink faded, the stamp authentic. How does a letter from 1974 land on his desk in 2016? And why now? Trump's rattled. He hides it, but he is. He stuffs the letter in a drawer, tells no one. But that night, he can't sleep. Jack's face, those eyes haunt him. What did he mean? Too late for what? The questions gnaw, unanswered. Back to that night in New York. Trump's silent, the crowd uneasy. That question, "What would you do if you had one day left?" isn't just words. It's a key, unlocking something he's buried deep. He stares at the old man, and it hits him, those eyes. Gray, unshakable, the same ones from 1974. Jack Carter, older, weathered, but him. Trump's voice trembles as he starts. "In 1974, I met a man." He tells it haltingly, raw. The sight, the words, the letter. "He said I'd understand," Trump says, "and it'd be too late." The crowd's riveted, some scoff, some lean in. "I got that letter when I won," he adds. "And tonight he's here." Gasps ripple. Trump points to the old man, but the chair's empty. Gone. No shuffle, no exit, just vanished. The room erupts. Where'd he go? What's he mean? Trump's pale, hands shaking. "I don't know," he whispers, "but I feel it now." Was it real? A ghost? A trick? Trump doesn't say. He stops, mid-story, and waves it off. "Forget it," he mutters, forcing a grin. But the crowd sees it, fear, raw and rare. He knows something he can't unknow. After that night, Trump never mentions it again. No interviews, no tweets, silence. Those there swear it's true, the only time they saw a Donald Trump afraid. Was it Jack Carter, his conscience, a warning from fate? Or something stranger, time bending, a message from beyond? The letter's locked away or destroyed. No one's found it. Trump takes the secret to himself, a shadow he can't shake. But here's the thing, maybe it's not just his story. Maybe it's ours, a question waiting. What would you do with one day left? Trump faced it and flinched. The answer's out there, in the future, or maybe the past. One thing's sure, some secrets don't die. What do you think? Real? Impossible? Drop your thoughts below and subscribe. More mysteries are coming that'll flip your world upside down.